Experiencing butterflies in the stomach? Eyes can't get over that first sight? Still feeling the first touch vibes? Longing for the same person again and again like love is flowing in the veins? This is love. Wait a minute. What if it is limerence? Limerence. Have you heard this term? Well, you definitely heard the word obsession, right? Limerence is a kind of obsession with a person that can last till your life unless you recognize it. It is the feeling of being madly in love with someone and making them your whole world without a second thought. You may now be wondering, what's the actual difference between limerence and love? Well, limerence resembles love a lot in various aspects, but limerence and love are not the same thing. Dorothy Tanoff was the first person who coined the term limerence and drew a separation line between the two. The main distinction between them is that limerence primarily focuses on pursuing and lusting after someone, whereas love necessitates a genuine, meaningful connection with another person. However, limerence is a temporary feeling that will end after a certain time. So what are the signs you are in limerence? What are various phases or stages of limerence? How to stop or avoid it? And lastly, how do you know when the limerence is coming to an end? Now, before discussing anything about limerence, you need to first confirm that you are actually in limerence with someone. Don't worry, just take a pause and evaluate your feelings, and check whether you are experiencing the following limerence signs. Sign 1. Thinking of the subject unconsciously the whole day. In the limerence, you might find yourself constantly thinking about a particular person. In fact, everything looks like a live telecast. Their smiles, shining eyes, their voice, everything keeps playing on the loop like a forever repeated button. Sign 2, you're trying to change yourself. In limerence, you might seem to suppress your real self and try to change yourself according to their likes and dislikes. Thus, you'll start making changes in your habits without noticing, as you wish to seek their attention or be perfect within their standards. Sign 3, excess emotional dependence. Does a small change in their behavior affect you too much? Is there constant anxiety or uneasiness in settling down? Are you afraid of their absence? This kind of emotional dependence clearly signals limerence. In fact, your entire mood might be controlled by their reaction towards you. Sign 4, ignoring the red flags. If you are limerent, you will intentionally ignore every flaw in your subject and assume them as perfect. Thus, even though people around may try to warn you about the person, you are still blindly attached to him or her. Sign 5, far distant from reality. Are you living in dreams? Is your mind writing a fictional love story and keeping you lost in it? This kind of fantasy love definitely is a warning sign of growing limerence. Till now, we have discussed the various signs of limerence. Now let's move on to the next aspect, the stages of limerence. Generally, limerence can last up to 3 months to 3 years on average. In some cases, it may stay longer if a person doesn't recognize it. However, one day or another, you will come out of the trap of limerence. But before limerence comes to an end, it takes you across certain phases. What are the various phases or stages of limerence? Well, in general, you go through 3 stages of limerence until it is faded completely. Stage 1. My heart is beating fast as winds are blowing. I'm standing on cloud 9. With him, everything seems to blur except him. Does this sound familiar? What if you are believing in these thoughts that you might be in the first stage of limerence, known as infatuation? Here you find yourself falling for another person with an instant and strong magnetic connection with him or her. In fact, this stage is full of fantasy. It makes you believe in fairy tales as you assume the person as your Prince Charming or dream girl. Next comes stage 2. In stage 2, gradually the feelings go to a peak and your world seems to be confined to your subject. Thus, you might feel insecure with fear of losing them, which grows you as a possessive partner. Entering this stage brings lots of harsh realizations, and the fog of everything perfect slowly fades. Also, lots of mixed feelings, confusion, and questions will arise in you at this stage. Hence, it is known as crystallization. Then you'll enter the final stage 3 of limerence. Well, after being a prisoner of many negative thoughts, finally you'll gather the courage to face the reality and accept whatever comes in, either heartbreak or a cheerful mutual relationship, with all flaws and green flags. Then it means you're at the stage of deterioration. This is when you are heading towards the road of healing and letting go of all feelings you hold for another person. Thus, when you start accepting the rejection and stop chasing a person, as they are not reciprocating the same efforts in the bond, here limerence gradually walks to the button-end line. Remember, ending limerence is not easy as it seems. It is a phase of struggle and self-discovery where you redeem your real self, which you have lost in the state of limerence. Thus, it is always beneficial to identify a few signs that signal when your limerence is actually fading. Moreover, knowing these signs will help you better understand emotions and thus cope up with the situation effectively. So what are the signs that indicate a limerence is ending? Well, there are 6 signs that people display when they are near the end phases of limerence. Sign 1 is looking sad. Sadness is one of the withdrawal effects associated with an ending limerence. When you're with a person you're in limerence with, you get butterflies in your stomach, and nothing else seems to matter. Thus, you will naturally feel overwhelmed with sadness and disappointment when that place of comfort and tranquility is ultimately taken away from you, or you learn that the person is not who you thought they were. Sign 2, being open for red flags. When you're experiencing limerence, people only pay attention to the details that support the impressions they have of you, and they don't consider that person's flaws. However, once you step out of the cage of limerence, you might start evaluating the second party in a realistic way, like how is he or she treating you? Is he or she respecting you or not, etc. Sign 3, putting in less action. Recall that when someone is experiencing limerence, they will go to great lengths to win over their partner. Hence, the fact that he or she stops going above and beyond is therefore a reliable sign that limerence has ended. Sign 4, no more uneasiness. When your limerence is fading, you'll start experiencing stability in thoughts. Your thoughts will no longer be occupied with their images, and you'll have many things to think over now. Also, their presence or absence makes no difference to you now, and you'll no longer have mood swings. Sign 5, emotional roller coaster. As the same as the beginning of limerence, its ending is also an emotional roller coaster. The feeling of disappointment, despair, hopelessness, and guilt seem to wander in the mind when the limerence is fading. Thus, the person experiencing a fading limerence may experience a collapse in their emotional state when the experience is over, as all these feelings vanish. Sign 6, focusing on yourself. When going through a limerence, you'll think about that person all the time. Thus, the limerence will likely expire if you start acknowledging your presence more. For example, by talking about yourself, preparing meals for yourself and the kids, or spending more time alone. Yes, when the feeling of limerence is ending, you will get more reasons to focus on yourself. You will start the process of building yourself from scratch by chasing your goals and dreams and going through the channel of self-discovery. Before I end this video, let me tell you one thing. Limerence is a state of delusion where everything seems perfect with another person. Not only in singlehood, sometimes it occurs in married people as a result of an affair. Thus, it would be better to identify the state of limerence and slow down, especially when you're committed to someone. Remember, limerence is an iceberg that starts melting gradually as you start coming into the real world from your imaginative one. Yes, the fog of flawlessness will wash away, and you will finally realize that life is not a fairy tale.